$1 Million Plus presents Palaces in Paradise. Today we are providing you with exclusive access inside some of the finest palatial estates in America with the top real estate professionals representing these properties. This episode will take you to the incredible mansions and estates in San Diego County, California. This diverse landscape includes 70 miles of iconic coastal beachfront towns and the city of San Diego with year-round sunshine all the way to the Mexican border. And San Diego is so much more than the oceanfront. It's a mixture of urban and rural communities encompassing mountains and desert in 4,300 square miles. You are going to meet the top real estate professionals representing these masterpiece multi-million-dollar properties across the county of San Diego. It's our pleasure to be sitting here with the Dean of Coronado Real Estate, Mr. Scott Aurich, and we would also like to invite you to dinner. So, Mr. Scott, how did you become so successful and knowledgeable in real estate in Coronado?
Well, I get to Coronado by kind of default. I actually went broke as a developer in Texas, and one of my clients from Texas, who's lived in Mexico, offered me to come out here and work on a project that he had here. A friend of mine suggested I come to Coronado, and we packed up and came out here to look at this project. We came out here on a Friday, looked at this property in Mexico, came out to dinner on Friday night, decided to make a deal, and I moved out here 2 weeks later and just fell in love with the island. So we thought we'd go back to Texas in a year or two, but it turned out that raising a son and a family here in Coronado was about as good a place as we could find out here in California. And after a few ventures into the project in Mexico, I decided to get involved in residential real estate here. And it just happened that we were pretty good at it after the time we got in here in town.
Oh, that's really neat. Fabulous. What is one of the most unique homes that you've ever sold?
Probably the most unique home I've ever sold is a couple doors down, the Spreckles Beach House, which was owned by John Spreckles, the guy who owned the whole island. And it had a great history and had a lot of old things about it that got changed back to the way they were originally. But it was a really special house that John Spreckles had given to his son as a wedding present. And his son's wife decided to take the flat roof off, which had a trellis and a room up on the top. It was designed by an architect, Harrison Albright. And in doing so, she put a big red roof on because she loved Richard Requa architecture. So it was a really special place. It's a big house for Coronado. It's about half the size of this. It's under 12,000 square feet, but it was a pretty unique, special property. And they did a magnificent job restoring it to its original luster. So that's kind of special.
That sounds fun too.
It is. It was a fun project.
So please tell us more about this beautiful property.
Well, we're here at Crown Manor, which is definitely the most iconic property in Coronado for sure, and maybe one of the most iconic properties in Southern California. It's owned by a litany of really special owners, the first being a guy named Bartlett Richard, and then after that he sold it to a guy named Walter Dupuy. So it's originally been known as the Richards Dupuy House because they both of them had an impact. When Dupuy came along, he added a wing to the house and expanded it for the polo teams that he was hosting here, and he was trying to bring polo to the United States. So it is the biggest home on the island and one of the biggest properties on it, sitting right on the Pacific Ocean and one of the best locations on the island. So Crown Manor consists of 3 stories plus a basement, and the downstairs has been almost hermetically sealed. It has been just magnificently preserved over the last 100 plus years by the previous owners. It sets up now with this huge master suite up on the end of the house, on the south end of the house. It's got several other bedrooms that look out over the ocean. It's got more bedrooms up on the 3rd floor as well. And it's got a special wing in the back on the 1st level that we entertained, the presidents have stayed in and entertained in here. The former owner, Larry Lawrence, who was the owner of the Hotel Del at the time, he brought all kinds of dignitaries and celebrities and so forth that stayed in the house as his guests, not the least of which was kind of the Clinton family who stayed here back in the 90s and ran up and down the beach and had a great time with living in the Crown Manor at that time. They were kind of nicknaming it the Western White House. The current owner now lives in Florida and maintains it here as a second home, and it's a really special, unique place.
So Scott, you're going to take us from the beach
Yeah.
to this 170-acre estate with vineyards. Can you please tell us about this property?
Oh, Ballena Vista. It's got a place in my heart. It's really, really a special place. 172 acres, big, beautiful, handcrafted house on the top of the hill, looking out over the entire valley. And it was the premier thoroughbred breeding facility in the West Coast for a number of years. The man who built it added on little parcels and bought it and expanded over 40 years and did it just in the first class way all the way through. There's a big, beautiful driveway. There's 2.5 miles of concrete drive through the property that are all landscaped and tree lined. And when you fall into this place, it's just like you're going into a magical space or a spa. The barn, which has a 38 stall barn, is built like a home you'd find in Rancho Santa Fe. There's some wood paneling inside, it's just magnificent. They've got a stallion barn that's even more magnificent. Over the last 7 or 8 years, the owner shut down the horse breeding business and is now operating it as a vineyards. And he's planted, I think, 28 acres right now. Some of these pastures have now just become beautiful vineyards with all the infrastructure to create a full-time winery or boutique winery if someone chooses.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, it's a special place. So Ballena Vista also, in addition to this extraordinary main house that's been custom built up on the top of the hill, there's this nice little guest casita. And then there's 3 other properties that are built out or casitas that are being used now for staff, but could be super guest casitas as well. The main barn with its office has 38 stalls, and there's a couple other additional barns, a breeding barn and the stallion barn. Those are also on the property. There's some circular round pens that are all, again, feel like they're built for homes in Rancho Santa Fe. The whole property is irrigated. There's 7 wells on the property, 400,000 gallon reservoir at the top of the property that was dynamited out in a day to be able to create a place to hold the water for all the irrigation. Was for the pastures originally, and now it's for the vineyards. Second largest solar field in private use, I think, in anywhere. So it's got a lot of infrastructure, beautifully maintained, and a lot of opportunity for someone who wants to either private getaway or a place to do an ongoing business with either wines or horses or both. One of a kind of investment, and it's a great getaway place for people in San Diego County or even Orange County just to come down and have a weekend getaway. And it's just a beautiful part of San Diego, great summers, nice cool winters, get out of the hustle bustle of, the city life.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's pretty special.
So, Mr. Scott, since you've been here since 1987 in Coronado, can you tell us what's the community like here in the lifestyle?
Yeah, the community's had a number of changes up and down the main drag with different restaurants and things coming and going, but it really hasn't changed as much as you'd think. It's a Mayberry type of kind of throwback community where you go back into time in the like you almost lived in the 50s in East Texas or someplace. It's a really kind of down-home, quaint little community right across the bridge from downtown San Diego and all the things that San Diego's offers. So that fabric of the community and the kind of culture that we have here is what really makes Coronado more special than any place else in Southern California, or I'd have been back in Texas in a year or 2 years in the beginning, because we came out here just to kind of get our feet underneath us, and from getting embraced by this community, it's made all the difference in the world. The reason we stayed out here, 35 years, and it's just been a special place to be able to raise a family. I tell people to raise a family, to retire or come vacation, just doesn't get much better than Coronado. So that's some of the things about the community.
It sounds like a win-win.
Yeah, just a great community, yeah.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's fabulous. Leading luxury financing advisors, OneMillionDollarPlus knows how to shop for the lowest interest rate mortgages available for you. We start by assessing the best possible terms for you, and then we oversee the entire lending process on your behalf.
Using enhanced credit analysis, credit structuring, and our understanding of the state and federal laws that impact borrowing power, our team maximizes your loan qualifications.
We get the best possible results by eliminating stressful problems and costly delays.